So let's talk about the December 7th SmackDown and ECW crew flight from Frankfurt, Germany to Zurich, Switzerland. You come just seconds from disaster that would have literally cost the entire crew their lives. There's a flight landing and a plane comes out of nowhere on the runway right in front. The pilot of the plane carrying the wrestlers was thankfully not just alert, but quick enough on the draw to do an immediate emergency takeoff just before there would have been a crash. He had to basically leapfrog a plane on the runway. One non-wrestler on the flight called it the scariest thing he's ever experienced in 25 years of flying. And after the show, which was the final night of the tour, everyone was seemingly back to normal, and there's a lot of heavy partying and drinking and celebrating before heading home. This doesn't get nearly the play as like a plane ride from hell, but this is a scary story that I've heard people talk about. What do you remember hearing about it?
I think if you travel enough, you're always going to come across some scary stories at times. As silly as it sounds, it's another day at the office, really. I think that, again, we're on planes every day, a lot of times, especially at that time frame where you were on a plane every day, and it just eventually crazy things are going to happen. And luckily, they got out of it and everything was okay. But that's just being on the road. I hate to make light of it, but it's one of those things that if you're on the road enough, you're going to come across it.
Well, I'll tell you this: the other crew is actually going to do a tribute to the troops show over in Iraq. And while they're going, there's a chopper that's got Dean Malenko, Mickey James, Carlito, Chris Jericho, JBL, and Ron Simmons. And somehow the chopper gets damaged in a landing, and all 6 of the talent here are stranded for 5 hours in Iraq. It's a war zone where there's fires and smoke bombs and razor wire everywhere, and the guys are going to pass the time hanging out with the soldiers in a unsecure location. But my goodness, this is listen, it is what it is. If you're going to sign up to do tribute to the troops, where are the troops? They're there.
Well, I think that the most important thing to point out, and tribute to the troops, God doesn't get enough credit for it, is John Layfield. Yes. It was John's idea. John and the Sergeant Major, I've got that picture around here somewhere, that made this all happen. And Bob Hope used to do the USO show every year, and yes. Bob Hope would do his big shows where he would go around and entertain the troops and war zones and things. But Bob would always go, and the celebrities that would go, they would always go to staging areas, if you will, not into the battle zones. And one of the things when we started this was, yes, we want to be able to go over and entertain our troops that are protecting our country overseas, and we want to go over and entertain them. But we want to go to the guys that are on the front lines. We want to go to those soldiers that are the ones that are not able to go to the staging areas, those guys that are not able to come in and see the matches, that are stationed right there, that are doing the fighting, that have bullets and whizzing over their heads every single day and bombs going off all around them. And that was everybody that signed up for this knew that this is what we're going to do. And the talent that went took pride in doing that. They took pride in being able to go somewhere, and these folks in particular, it was in a war zone, and there was a war happening, folks. So they came in under gunfire, and the helicopter was damaged. And this is just one instance that people talked about. But when they got there, the looks on the soldiers' faces of just like, oh my God, I haven't seen a face from home, much less somebody that I've seen on television and have watched all these years. And you're out here with me, where I'm risking my life every day, and you're risking your life to come out and make my day a little bit better. So when they looked at, hey, being stranded for 5 hours, it was 5 hours of enjoyment that they were able to give to the troops that were out there making us all safe back at home. And nobody looked at it as, you know, oh, this is this horrible thing of being stuck out here for 5 hours. They looked at it as a time to be able to spend with the troops. And the troops looked at it that way as well. So, you know, it's a pretty cool thing when you think about it. Thank goodness, you know, we're not in any really active wars right now that we can go there, but we still do tribute to the troops and try and give back to our men and women in the armed forces and come to them and entertain them wherever we can. But during those times, as the early times of tribute to the troops, there's just such pride, man, that we were able to go to the front lines. We were able to go to those men and women that were out there risking their life every day. And that was some pretty cool shit.
Super cool stuff. Shout out to everybody who was involved at that.